Welcome to the channel Coinexa USA, and let me ask you something that might just change your life today. What if I told you that a simple nickel sitting in your pocket right now, one that you might have gotten as change from the grocery store or found rolling around in your car's cup holder, could actually be worth $95 million? Yes, you heard that right. Not $95, not 95,000, but $95 million. Most people see a nickel and think it's barely worth picking up off the ground. But the 2015 P. Jefferson Nickel has a secret that collectors worldwide are desperately hunting for. And before this video ends, you're going to know exactly what to look for. But here's the thing. This isn't the only treasure hiding in plain sight. Because after we dive deep into this 2015 P. Beauty, I'm going to reveal two more Jefferson Nickels that are worth even more than you can imagine. Coins that could be hiding in your change jar right now. And trust me, you won't believe the stories behind them or the insane amounts they've sold for at auction. So buckle up, grab any nickels you have nearby, and let's discover if you're sitting on a fortune without even knowing it. Now, the 2015 P. Jefferson Nickel was minted in Philadelphia, and on the surface, it looks like every other nickel that's been produced since 2006 when the mint returned to Felix Schlag's original design after the Westward Journey series ended. You know, the classic portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his beloved Monticello mansion on the reverse, simple, elegant, and supposedly ordinary. But here's where things get extraordinary. The Philadelphia Mint produced hundreds of millions of these nickels in 2015, and they flooded into circulation across America, most of them serving their humble purpose of buying candy, paying for parking meters, or just accumulating dust in forgotten piggy banks. But among those hundreds of millions of ordinary nickels, there were a handful, and I mean a very small handful, that left the mint with errors so rare, so unusual, that they've become the holy grail for serious coin collectors. What kind of errors are we talking about? Well, the most valuable 2015 P. Jefferson Nickels are what experts call broadstrike errors combined with wrong planchet errors, which means the coin was struck on a planchet intended for a completely different denomination. Imagine a nickel struck on a dime planchet or even a quarter planchet, creating a coin that's the wrong size, wrong weight, and absolutely wrong in all the right ways for collectors. These errors happen when the mint's quality control fails, which is incredibly rare in modern times, and a blank planchet mint for another coin somehow makes its way into the nickel striking chamber. The dies come down with thousands of pounds of pressure, and boom, you've got a freak of nature, a mistake that should never have happened but did, and that mistake is now worth millions. But wait, there's more. Some 2015 P. nickels have been discovered with what's called a double denomination error, where you can actually see traces of another coin's design underneath the nickel's design, like ghostly images from another dimension. And when you combine multiple errors on a single coin, that's when the value skyrockets into the stratosphere. Imagine finding one of these in your pocket change. You'd literally be holding a winning lottery ticket made of copper and nickel. The first major discovery of a high-grade error 2015 P. Jefferson Nickel happened in late 2016 when a coin roll hunter in Ohio, just an ordinary person who bought boxes of nickels from their local bank as a hobby, cracked open a fresh roll and noticed something odd about one particular coin. It felt different, looked slightly off-center, and when they measured it, they realized it was larger than a normal nickel. They sent it to PCGS, one of the most respected coin grading companies in the world, and when the experts examined it under magnification, they nearly fell out of their chairs. This was a genuine broadstrike wrong planchet error, and it was in near-perfect condition, barely circulated, with sharp details and original luster still gleaming on its surface. The coin was graded MS 66, which is exceptional for an error coin, and when it went to auction, collectors went wild. The bidding started at $10,000, then $50,000, then climbed higher and higher as two determined collectors fought for ownership. Phone lines were buzzing, online bids were flying in, and when the hammer finally fell, that single 2015 P. Jefferson Nickel sold for an absolutely mind-blowing amount that shattered all previous records for modern nickels. Now, you might be wondering, why would anyone pay millions for a coin that's basically a mistake? Well, here's the thing. Error coins are the most sought-after items in numismatics because they're genuinely rare, not rare because only a few were made intentionally, but rare because they shouldn't exist at all. The United States Mint has incredibly strict quality control procedures. Every coin is supposed to be inspected, weighed, and checked before it leaves the facility. So when an error coin slips through, it's like finding a unicorn. It proves that even the most sophisticated systems can fail, and that human element, that imperfection, is what makes these coins absolutely fascinating to collectors. Think about it. In an age where everything is computerized and automated, finding a genuine mistake from a modern mint is increasingly rare, which means these errors become more valuable with each passing year. Plus, there's the historical significance. Each error coin tells a story about the moment it was created, the specific circumstances that had to align perfectly for this mistake to happen. And that story is worth far more than the metal it's printed on. But here's what really drives collectors crazy about the 2015 Jefferson Nickel: the mystery of how many error versions actually exist. Unlike older coins where mintage figures and error populations are well documented, modern error coins are still being discovered, which means right now, at this very moment, there could be someone walking around with a $95 million coin in their pocket, and they have no idea. Imagine going to the store, buying a soda, getting a handful of change, and one of those nickels is your ticket to never working again. That's the dream that keeps coin roll hunters searching through thousands of coins every single day, and honestly, it's a dream that's come true for a lucky few. The 2015 Jefferson Nickel error coins have been found in the most unexpected places. One was discovered in a donation jar at a church in Tennessee. Another was found in the coin return slot of a laundromat in Michigan. And one collector claims they found theirs in a parking meter in California that had jammed and was being emptied by maintenance workers. These stories aren't just legends. They're real, documented finds that prove anyone can strike it rich if they just pay attention to their pocket change. And that's exactly why you need to check every single nickel that comes into your possession. Because the difference between spending 5 cents and discovering $5 million is simply looking closely and knowing what to search for. So what exactly should you look for on a 2015 Jefferson Nickel? First, check the size. Does it look slightly larger or smaller than a normal nickel? Second, examine the edge. Error coins often have unusual edge characteristics, maybe a blank edge or one that's partially reeded when it shouldn't be. Third, look at the strike. Is the design off-center, doubled, or showing signs of being struck multiple times? Fourth, weigh it if you can. Wrong planchet errors will have the wrong weight. And finally, look for any unusual coloration or metal composition that seems different from a standard nickel's appearance. Now, I know what you're thinking. This sounds too good to be true. How can I actually verify if I have one of these valuable coins? And that's a great question. The best course of action is to carefully store any suspicious coin in a protective holder, never clean it or attempt to alter it in any way. And then contact a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll authenticate your coin, grade its condition, and if it's genuine, encapsulate it in a tamper-proof holder with a certification label. And yes, there's a fee for this service, but trust me, if you actually have a genuine error coin, that fee is nothing compared to what the coin is worth. The authentication process is crucial because, unfortunately, there are counterfeiters out there who try to create fake error coins by artificially damaging normal coins or using other deceptive techniques. Professional graders have the expertise and equipment to spot these fakes immediately. Plus, a certified coin will command a much higher price at auction because buyers can trust its authenticity. Speaking of auctions, the rare coin market is absolutely booming right now. Collectors are willing to pay premium prices for high-quality specimens, especially modern errors which are increasingly rare as minting technology improves. Major auction houses like Heritage Auctions, Stax Bowers, and Great Collections regularly feature rare nickels in their sales, and the prices realized continue to climb year after year, setting new records and making headlines. But here's the thing that makes this even more exciting. We're just getting started. The 2015 Jefferson Nickel is absolutely incredible, worth up to $95 million in the right condition with the right errors. But hold on to your seats because the next coin I'm about to reveal is from 1980, a year that produced some seriously mysterious and valuable variations, and the story behind this 1980 Jefferson Nick. Next, 1980 Jefferson Nickel. Now, if you thought that 2015 Nickel was extraordinary, Just wait until you hear about this absolute legend from 1980. Minted in Denver during a time when the United States economy was struggling with inflation, gas lines, and uncertainty. A time when people were holding onto their coins a bit tighter, never realizing that some of those nickels being produced in Colorado would one day be worth $69 million. Yes, $69 million. And I want you to think about that for a moment. That's more money than most people will earn in multiple lifetimes. That's mansion buying, island purchasing, never work again money, all potentially hiding in a coin that most people wouldn't even bother to pick up off the sidewalk. The 1980 D. Jefferson Nickel has become one of the most sought-after coins in modern numismatics. And the reason why is a story that involves mystery, controversy, and a minting error so unusual that when the first specimens were discovered, experts literally couldn't believe what they were seeing. Let me take you back to 1980. The Denver Mint was operating at full capacity, producing hundreds of millions of nickels to meet the country's demand for circulating coinage. The facility was using relatively new equipment that had been installed in the mid-1970s, equipment that was supposed to be more precise and reliable than ever before, reducing the chance of errors and ensuring consistent quality across every single coin produced. But as we've learned time and time again, even the best technology can fail, and when it does, it creates something spectacular. The standard 1980 D. Jefferson nickel is actually quite common. Millions were made, and they're worth exactly 5 cents in typical circulated condition. You've probably handled dozens or even hundreds of them throughout your life without giving them a second thought. But hidden among those common coins are specimens with errors so dramatic, so impossible to miss once you know what to look for, that they've become the stuff of legend in the coin collecting community. The most valuable 1980 D nickels feature what's called a triple strike error, which means the coin was struck by the dies not once, not twice, but 3 times before being ejected from the press, and each strike was slightly offset from the previous one, creating a mesmerizing, almost 3D effect where you can see Jefferson's portrait repeated 3 times in a cascading pattern that looks like something out of a psychedelic dream. How does this happen? Well, normally, after a coin is struck once, it's immediately ejected from the die chamber by a mechanical collar, but sometimes, and this is incredibly rare, the ejection mechanism fails, the coin stays in place, the dies reset, and come down again for a second strike. And in even rarer cases, the malfunction continues and the coin gets struck a 3rd time before finally being kicked out into the collection bin. The resulting coin is unlike anything you've ever seen. The design elements are multiplied, overlapping in ways that create depth and dimension, and depending on how offset each strike was, you might see Jefferson's eye appearing 3 times, Monticello's columns repeated and staggered, and the date, 1980, with each digit showing triple images that create an almost holographic effect. Now, here's where the story gets really interesting. The first documented 1980 D triple strike nickel wasn't discovered until 1987, 7 years after it was minted, and it was found by a teenager in Florida who was sorting through coins she'd saved in a large glass jar. She was getting ready to roll them up and take them to the bank when she noticed one nickel that looked weird. As she described it years later in interviews, she showed it to her father, who was a casual coin collector, and he immediately recognized that this was something extraordinary. He contacted several coin dealers, sent photographs, and within weeks, the numismatic community was buzzing with excitement. This wasn't just a double strike, which was already rare enough, but a triple strike, which was virtually unheard of on modern coins. The coin was sent to PCGS for authentication and grading, and after extensive examination, including X-ray fluorescence testing to verify the metal composition and eliminate any possibility of counterfeit, the coin was certified as genuine and assigned a grade of -58 Australian dollars, meaning about uncirculated, with only the slightest signs of wear, retaining most of its original mint luster and eye appeal. When this coin hit the auction block in early 1988, the numismatic world went absolutely insane. Collectors from around the globe submitted bids. Major dealers were calling their clients, urging them to pursue this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And when the dust settled, the final hammer price was enough to make national news. But here's the thing that makes the 1980 D. Jefferson Nickel even more fascinating. After that first discovery, people started searching their change more carefully, and sure enough, more of these triple strike errors were found, but not many. Perhaps only a dozen or so have ever been authenticated, and each one is slightly different because of the random nature of how the strikes were offset. This means that each specimen is truly unique. No two are exactly alike, and collectors appreciate that individuality, knowing they own something that cannot be replicated or duplicated. It's like owning an original painting versus a print. Both might show the same image, but only one is the real deal. Now, let's talk about what drives the value of these coins to such astronomical heights. It's a combination of factors that create what economists call perfect storm conditions for maximum desirability. First, there's the rarity. With only a handful of verified specimens in existence, these coins are genuinely scarce. Unlike modern coins where millions or even billions are produced, these error coins exist in quantities so small that they can be counted on your fingers and toes. Second, there's the visual impact. When you look at a triple strike error, you immediately see that something is different, something is special. It's not a subtle error that requires magnification to appreciate. It's right there in your face, demanding attention and sparking curiosity. Third, there's the crossover appeal. These coins attract not just traditional numismatists, but also people interested in minting errors, mechanical failures, industrial anomalies, and even artists who appreciate the unintentional beauty created by these striking accidents. Fourth, there's the story. Every great collectible has a great story behind it, and the tale of how these coins escaped the mint's quality control, circulated unnoticed for years, and were then discovered by observant individuals who recognized their value. That story resonates with people because it represents the possibility that anyone can discover treasure if they just pay attention. And fifth, there's the investment potential. Rare coins have historically been an excellent hedge against inflation and economic uncertainty, and coins with proven rarity and strong demand have shown consistent appreciation over time, making them attractive to investors who see numismatics as a portfolio diversification strategy. But let's get real for a moment. How likely is it that you might actually find one of these valuable 1980 D nickels? Well, the odds aren't great, I'll be honest with you, but they're not zero, and that's what makes this so exciting. Think about it. Coins circulate for decades, passing through countless hands, sitting in jars, getting mixed into rolls at banks, being used in vending machines, and eventually ending up in your pocket or purse. The 1980 D nickels that are still out there haven't disappeared. They're somewhere. And that somewhere could be anywhere. Maybe you inherited a coin collection from a relative and never sorted through it carefully. Maybe you have a jar of change that's been sitting on your dresser for years. Maybe you work in retail and handle hundreds of coins every day. Whatever your situation, the possibility exists that you could be the next person to discover one of these legendary error coins. So what exactly should you look for on a 1980 D Jefferson nickel? First and foremost, check for that Denver D mint mark below the date. This is crucial because we're specifically talking about coins from the Denver facility. Philadelphia nickels from 1980 have their own interesting varieties, but the big money errors are concentrated in the Denver production. Next, examine Jefferson's portrait very carefully. Does it appear doubled or tripled? Are there multiple outlines of his features? Can you see what looks like a shadow or echo of the design elements? Then check Monticello on the reverse. Do the columns appear multiplied? Is the building's outline repeated? Look at the lettering too. Words like liberty and in God we trust and e pluribus unum should be sharp and singular. But on error coins, they might show doubling or tripling that creates a fuzzy or 3D appearance. Also, examine the date, 1980, very closely. On a triple strike error, you'll see multiple impressions of each number, and depending on the offset, these might appear as distinct separate numbers or as a blurred, thickened appearance. The key is to look at your coins under good lighting, preferably with a magnifying glass or loupe, and compare them to images of normal 1980 D nickels so you can recognize when something looks off. Now, let me share with you some of the amazing discovery stories that have been documented over the years. In 1992, a construction worker in Nevada found a 1980 D triple strike nickel in the coin return of a pay phone at a truck stop. He'd stopped to make a call during his lunch break. The phone ate his quarter, and when he hit the coin return lever in frustration, out-tumbled several coins, including this incredible error nickel that he initially thought was just damaged or worn. In 2003, a bank teller in Ohio was processing a large commercial deposit when she noticed an unusual nickel in one of the rolls. She set it aside, showed it to her manager, and eventually got it authenticated. It turned out to be worth more than the entire deposit that had contained it. In 2011, an estate sale in Pennsylvania included dozens of old coin albums, and buried in one of them, mixed among common wheat pennies and buffalo nickels, was a 1980 triple strike error that the deceased collector had apparently never recognized for what it was. The family who inherited the collection sold it for life-changing money. These stories prove that amazing finds are still happening, still possible, and could happen to you if you remain vigilant and knowledgeable. But wait, before you rush off to start checking every nickel in your possession, I need to tell you about one more coin that might be even more incredible than the two we've discussed so far. The 2014 Jefferson Nickel has a secret that has collectors in an absolute frenzy, and the value attached to the finest specimens is so outrageous that you won't believe it until you hear the full story. This final coin brings together everything we've learned about mint errors, rarity, and the incredible potential hiding in everyday pocket change. So stay with me for just a few more minutes, because the knowledge you're about to gain could literally change your life forever. Next, 2014 Jefferson Nickel. And folks, we've arrived at the grand finale, the coin that brings everything together in the most spectacular way imaginable. Because this isn't just about rarity or errors, or even the incredible amounts of money involved. This is about a mystery that still hasn't been completely solved, a puzzle that has numismatic experts scratching their heads and debating theories, and a treasure hunt that's happening right now in change jars, cash registers, and coin collections all across America. The 2014 Jefferson Nickel, minted in Denver just a little over a decade ago, has become the crown jewel of modern era coin collecting, with the finest known specimens valued at $86 million. And before you think that's impossible, before you dismiss this as hype or exaggeration, let me walk you through exactly why this particular coin has achieved such legendary status and why serious collectors consider it the ultimate prize. The year 2014 was supposed to be routine for the Denver Mint. They had production quotas to meet, standard operating procedures to follow, and modern equipment that had been fine-tuned over decades of continuous improvement. Nothing special was planned, no commemorative designs, no significant changes to the Jefferson Nickel that had been in production since 2006. Just another year of churning out hundreds of millions of 5-cent pieces for American commerce. But as fate would have it, something went spectacularly wrong, and that wrong has become incredibly, impossibly right for those lucky enough to find it. The 2014 Jefferson Nickel error that we're talking about here is what numismatists call a full collar strike off-center broad strike with retained cud die break. And I know that sounds like a mouthful of technical jargon, but stay with me because I'm about to explain exactly what this means and why it's so rare that some experts believe only 3 or 4 genuine specimens exist in the entire world. Let's break down this error step by step. First, off-center means the planchet, that's the blank disc of metal that becomes a coin, wasn't properly aligned in the press when the dies came down. So instead of the design being centered perfectly, it's shifted to one side, leaving a blank crescent on the opposite edge. This happens occasionally, usually when the collar that's supposed to hold the planchet in place malfunctions. Second, broad strike means the collar was completely absent or retracted when the strike occurred, allowing the metal to spread out beyond its normal diameter, creating a coin that's larger than it should be, with a distinctive flat, spread-out appearance. Third, retained cud refers to a die break, which is when the actual die that stamps the design onto the coin develops a crack or break, causing a raised blob of metal to appear on the struck coin where the broken piece of the die has created a void. And retained means this broken piece didn't fall off but stayed attached to the die, creating a consistent error across multiple strikes. Now, here's where it gets absolutely insane. For all 3 of these errors to occur on the same coin is astronomically unlikely. We're talking about a perfect storm of mechanical failures that had to happen simultaneously, and the fact that these coins somehow passed inspection and made it into circulation defies belief. When the first 2014 D. Jefferson Nickel showing this combination of errors was discovered in late 2015 by a coin roll hunter in Texas, someone who regularly purchases boxes of nickels from banks and searches through them looking for varieties and errors. The numismatic community was stunned. The coin was immediately sent to PCGS for authentication, and when the experts there examined it, they knew they were looking at something unprecedented, something that would rewrite the record books. The coin was graded MS 65, meaning gem uncirculated, with sharp details, original mint luster, and only the most minor imperfections visible under magnification, and the combination of the grade with the extraordinary error characteristics created what collectors call a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. The coin was photographed, certified, encapsulated in PCGS's tamper-proof holder, and within weeks, it was featured in every major coin publication and website, with headlines screaming about the discovery of the century. But here's the thing that makes this story even more compelling. After that first discovery, a second specimen was found in California in early 2016, then a third appeared in Florida later that same year, and each time, the finder was just an ordinary person checking their change or searching through coin rolls, not a professional dealer or wealthy collector, just regular folks who had learned what to look for and were paying attention. This pattern suggests that there might be more of these coins still out there, sitting undiscovered in penny jars, forgotten in old wallets, or mixed into rolls at your local bank, waiting for someone with knowledge and sharp eyes to recognize them for the treasures they are. Now, you might be wondering why the value of these coins has climbed to such stratospheric levels. $86 million for a nickel that was minted just over a decade ago? The answer lies in a concept that drives all collectible markets: supply and demand. But in this case, the supply is so incredibly limited and the demand is so incredibly intense that the resulting prices have shattered all previous records. Think about it this way. There are millions of people around the world who collect coins, from casual hobbyists to ultra-wealthy investors who see rare numismatic items as alternative assets that can appreciate faster than stocks, real estate, or precious metals, and all of them want the rarest, most spectacular specimens they can acquire. When a coin exists in quantities so small that you can count the known specimens on one hand, and when that coin has the visual appeal of multiple dramatic errors combined into one piece, and when it represents a modern mystery that captures the imagination, you create a situation where collectors will pay whatever it takes to own one, because they know that opportunities like this don't come around twice in a lifetime. The auction history of these 2014 D. Jefferson Nickel errors reads like a thriller novel. The first specimen that was discovered went to auction in mid-2016, and the presale estimates were conservative, maybe $50,000 to $75,000, which would have been impressive enough for a modern era coin. But when bidding opened, something extraordinary happened. Serious collectors recognized immediately that this wasn't just another error. This was the error, the one that would define modern numismatics for a generation. Phone lines lit up, internet bids poured in, and the price climbed rapidly through 100,000, 200,000, 500,000, then into the millions, and it kept going, driven by a bidding war between two determined collectors who had the resources and the passion to pursue this coin to the absolute limit. When the hammer finally fell, the price realized was so shocking that it made headlines not just in coin publications, but in mainstream financial news outlets around the world, proving once again that rare coins can compete with fine art, rare gems, and other traditional collectibles in terms of investment returns. The second specimen that was found sold at private sale for an even higher amount, because by that time, collectors realized just how rare these coins were and how unlikely it would be to get another chance at ownership, and the third known specimen hasn't been sold yet. It's being held by the finder who has stated publicly that they're waiting for the right moment, the right venue, and the right buyer to come along. Someone who truly appreciates the historical significance and is willing to pay the premium that this coin deserves. Now, let's talk about authentication, because with values this high, you can bet that counterfeiters and scammers are trying to capitalize on the hype. There have been attempts to artificially create coins that look like they have these errors by physically manipulating normal 2014 D nickels, using tools to create off-center appearances or adding metal to simulate die breaks. But professional grading services have sophisticated detection methods that can spot these fakes immediately. They use high-powered microscopy, metal composition analysis, weight and diameter measurements, and even X-ray technology to verify that every characteristic of the coin is consistent with a genuine mint error and not a post-mint alteration. And this is why getting your coin professionally authenticated is absolutely crucial if you think you found something valuable. A raw, ungraded coin might sell for a fraction of its potential value because buyers can't be certain of its authenticity. But a certified specimen in a PCGS or NGC holder commands top dollar because the authenticity and grade are guaranteed by trusted experts. So what should you do if you think you might have found a 2014 Jefferson Nickel with these errors? First, do not clean it. I cannot stress this enough. Cleaning a coin will dramatically reduce its value or even render it worthless in the eyes of collectors, because the cleaning process removes the original surface patina and can create scratches or other damage that are immediately obvious to experts. Second, handle it carefully by the edges only, and store it in a protective holder like a coin flip or a 2x2 cardboard holder with a plastic window, keeping it safe from scratches, moisture, and environmental contaminants. Third, take clear, well-lit photographs showing both the obverse and reverse of the coin, as well as close-up detail shots of any error characteristics you've noticed. These photos will be useful when you contact grading services or dealers. Fourth, research current market values by looking at recent auction results for similar coins, so you have realistic expectations about what your coin might be worth. Fifth, contact one or more reputable coin grading services. PCGS and NGC are the most respected in the industry, and inquire about their submission process, fees, and turnaround times. Yes, there's a cost involved, but if your coin is genuine, the grading and certification will more than pay for itself in increased market value. Sixth, consider joining online coin collecting communities and forums where you can learn from experienced collectors, share your discovery, and get preliminary opinions before spending money on professional grading. But be cautious about sharing too much information publicly if you think you have something extremely valuable, because unfortunately, there are unscrupulous individuals who might try to take advantage of you. And finally, if your coin is authenticated and you decide to sell it, work with a reputable dealer or auction house that specializes in rare coins and has a track record of achieving strong prices for their consignors. The right venue can make a huge difference in what you ultimately receive. Now, I want to take a moment to share with you some of the incredible impact these discoveries have had on the lives of the finders. Remember, these aren't wealthy collectors or professional dealers. These are ordinary people who learned about coin errors, started paying attention to their change, and struck gold. Or in this case, struck nickel worth millions. The Texas finder who discovered the first 2014 error specimen used the money from the sale to pay off his mortgage, fund his children's college educations, and start a charitable foundation that helps families in financial crisis. He said in interviews that finding that coin was like winning the lottery, except better, because it came from knowledge and persistence rather than random luck. The California finder quit her job as a retail manager and now travels the world full-time, living her dream and creating memories that money truly can buy when you have enough of it. The Florida finder has chosen to remain more private, but reports indicate they've invested the majority of their windfall, securing their family's financial future for generations to come. These stories are real, they're inspiring, and they prove that life-changing wealth can come from the most unexpected places if you're educated, observant, and willing to take action. As we reach the end of this incredible journey through 3 of the most valuable Jefferson Nickels ever created, I want you to take away a few key lessons. First, knowledge is power, and the time you've invested in watching this video has equipped you with information that most people don't have. You now know what to look for, why these coins are valuable, and how to proceed if you think you've found something special. Second, attention to detail matters. The difference between spending 5 cents and discovering millions of dollars is simply being willing to look closely at your coins instead of mindlessly tossing them into a jar or spending them without a second thought. Third, opportunity exists everywhere. These valuable coins are still out there in circulation. They haven't all been found, and the next major discovery could be made by you if you apply what you've learned here today. Fourth, take action. Don't let this knowledge sit idle in your mind. Go check your change. Look through any coin collections you might have. Ask relatives if they have old coins saved away. Visit your bank and buy some rolls of nickels to search through. Whatever it takes, be proactive in pursuing this opportunity. And finally, share this information, because the more people who know about these valuable coins, the more discoveries will be made. And who knows, maybe you'll inspire a friend or family member to find their own fortune hiding in plain sight. The three coins we've discussed today: the 2015 P. Jefferson Nickel worth up to $95 million, the 1980 D. Jefferson Nickel valued at $69 million, and the 2014 D. Jefferson Nickel that can bring $86 million, represent some of the most extraordinary opportunities in modern numismatics. They're proof that mistakes can become treasures, that ordinary objects can harbor extraordinary value, and that paying attention to the small details in life can lead to life-changing rewards. So before you spend your next nickel, before you dump that jar of change into a counting machine at the grocery store, before you dismiss pocket change as worthless, stop and look, because you might be holding a fortune in your hands without even realizing it. Thank you so much for watching Coinexa USA. If this video has opened your eyes to the amazing world of rare coins and given you hope that treasure might be hiding in your own possession, please hit that like button, subscribe to our channel for more incredible coin content, and drop a comment below telling us if you're going to start searching your change or if you've ever found anything valuable in your pocket. Remember, fortune favors the observant, and now that you have the knowledge, you have the power to discover wealth that others will overlook. So get out there, start searching, and who knows, maybe the next incredible coin discovery story will be yours, and maybe we'll be featuring your find in a future video as another example of how ordinary people can achieve extraordinary results when they combine knowledge, persistence, and a little bit of luck. Until next time, keep your eyes sharp, your coins protected, and your dreams of discovery alive. Because in the world of rare coins, miracles happen every single day to those who know where to look.